I was super insecure. I kept giving into pleasures. Like at the end of a school day, I go home, smoke, drink it on the weekends, just trying to forget everything. All these things that were bringing me pleasure were really just bringing me more pain.
I feel like we all get to one point where it's so rock bottom that you say, I have to make a switch. But what was that moment for you?
Luke Keegan is the fitness influencer and expert.
Here to help you
Get healthy, happy, and fit.
When we try to be perfect, we burn out. So it's just finding something sustainable.
What's improved in your life?
The brain fog just went away as I started using food as a tool.
On the topic of brain fog, just walk me through your day and like what you eat to avoid that stuff.
Big thing for me is carb structure.
So would you say fitness saved your life? Hey everybody, before we start this podcast, I have a quick opportunity. Whoever comments a question and gets the most likes, that question I will ask next week's guest. But the catch is you have no idea who the guest is. So be wise, ask a creative question, and enjoy the episode. Me and my friends were actually talking about, we got out of church yesterday and we're talking about it. And we passed Crumble Cookie and we passed Chipotle. And we passed this other spot, and we passed this other cookie spot. And one of my friends like, dude, we just need to, I hate when Riverside does this. He's like, dude, we just need to rip a cheat day. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll rip a cheat day. But the issue with the cheat day is, and I'm sure you can relate, but once you start restricting yourself so much with the diet, you have a cheat day. And dude, I'll put down 4 crumble cookies. Like, no, it will be easy. I will put down 4 crumble cookies, and then I'll want to come back for more, or I'll eat something else. And it's like, it's insane. Like, do you struggle with that type of stuff if you have a cheat day, or did you stop struggling because of this healthy dessert, or what?
Bro, the thing is like, yeah, the healthy dessert, I don't eat food that's not healthy. Like in a pinch, like I'll grab some tacos, whatever it is. But last night, bro, I was like, I'm big about protecting the Sabbath now. So it's like taking that Sunday as a day to rest, because I feel like when you find something you're passionate about, it's hard to turn your brain off. Yeah. So you need these Sundays where you're like, yo, I'm putting my phone down, like I'm just gonna chill. But anyways, I was watching a movie last night, and so I go for kind of like my classic Greek yogurt bowl: blueberries, Greek yogurt, honey, some cacao powder.
Yeah.
One goes down, I go back for a second, a third, and then I'm eating that banana bark, and I'm just, bro, I probably had like 800, 900 calories. I was just like binge eating. But the thing was, it was all good. So it's like, I did feel full today, so I skipped breakfast. But at least it wasn't like I wasn't filling my body with crap. I still enjoyed it, but I was binge eating like no tomorrow, bro. I kind of like cheat on the volume, but not the quality of food, if you know what I mean.
Dude, I appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of people struggle with binge eating. And a lot of people that are really dialed with physique and stuff. This is actually something my friend mentioned, and I wonder if you relate to. I keep going back to his friend, but we always talk about this stuff. So, for example, for myself, when I was growing up in high school and stuff, my goal was always to be a college athlete. I was super scrawny, bro. Like I could not put on muscle. I could not put on weight. And so my coaches drilled in my head, dude, you need to eat, you need to eat, you need to eat. And all I would eat was shit food. Like I would not eat anything healthy. But then it got to a point where it was my sophomore year baseball, and I was in college. I wasn't playing. So I was sitting on the bench, and we'd be at the field for hours, bro. We'd get there at 9 a.m. We'd leave at 6 at night. So you're there forever. And I wasn't playing, so I get super bored. And the way I would try to combat the boredness was I'd snack. Because we had all this food in the dugout. And so I'd snack. I didn't think anything from it, because I was never fat. I'd always had a 6-pack. And I got to the end of the year, end of the season. I'm like, holy shit. Like I have love handles now. Like I'm kind of fat. And then I went on a super strict diet, and I'm like, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life, which I did. But following after that, because this was off a heartbreak too. Like I just had my heart broken. I'm freaking motivated, Dial. I'm like, I'm going to prove this girl wrong. So my physique was insane. But once that motivation ran out, I severely struggled with like binge eating, and I got fat. Like I studied abroad then, completely stopped going to the gym. I got super fat. And since that time, it's been like on and off with it. And so my question is like, what you did last night, and I'll share what it is for me too, but what happened last night with just the volume? You just like, I got to keep going back. I got to go back. It's just a good thing. It's good quality food. But how often does that happen for you?
Yeah, so honestly, it's kind of like a rarity where it happens like that. I've been cutting for like the past like week and a half, 2 weeks, just a slight cut to be able to maintain muscle, but still like, lean out. And then I'm going to do a lean bulk, which I'm excited about. I've never bulked before because I hate the
Fire.
idea of gaining fat.
Yeah.
It's just like, because I grew up kind of a chubbier kid. So it's like when you go from that stage of being a little chubbier, um, to then leaning out, getting your dream physique, it's hard to go back to that to gain some weight. But to
Right.
go to your question of binge eating, yeah, I think to an extent I do struggle with it, but you got to say it's like, and I need more tools like this, but remind yourself, it's kind of, you see like the memes on Instagram, like being lean feels better than anything tastes, like whatever that quote is. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's kind of thinking like what is the end goal and then using your resources like food as a tool and not as a source of dopamine. It's kind of like disciplining your dopamine and
Yeah.
using food as a tool, right? And using physical activity as a tool to feel your best. If you eat this food, it's going to feel good in the short term, but in the long term, it's not going to feel good. You're not going to look good. You're not going to be confident because you just fell into that urge. So the more you can kind of discipline your mind and go for something like seltzer water, like these hacks, instead of eating ice cream, go for the banana bark, right? If you can just make these healthier swaps and be more mindful, it's all about being more mindful. We all have problems, all kind of have our vices, but if you
Mm.
can be more mindful about where you get your dopamine from and how to feel comfortable at a kind of a steady baseline, that's really the key. Just finding these simple comforts and not going into these dopamine hit type things, whatever it is for you.
How do you be mindful? Because when I think about when this happens, like, man, this was probably 2 weeks ago. And it was on a Sunday. And I can't like foot my screen right now, but I have post-it notes on my wall. That's God, there's that thumbs up again. It's post-it notes where I track my weight every single day and I write a yes or no if I was in a deficit or not. And it helps me visualize my progress. Like, bro, you've done so good. Don't screw this up. And so I have this here, but it was 2 weeks ago and I don't know what happened, but it was at the end of the night and I'm just like, your mind gets so narrow sighted and so focused on all I want to do is just eat food that I never let myself eat. And so for me, it's like, dude, peanut butter, I can't have peanut butter in the house. Otherwise, that thing is destroyed. But my parents sent me a jar of peanut butter. They sent me a care package. And I'm like, shit, I have peanut butter. This is not good. They sent me graham crackers too. I killed an entire thing of graham crackers, probably way too much peanut butter. But I just keep going back to this mindset. Like when you're in this binge eating thing, all you can think about is just a little dopamine and enough is never enough. And so I'm trying to figure out like when that happens, how do you combat that and like define what it means to be mindful in that situation?
Yeah, I think being mindful is kind of to take what you said, where you get this tunnel vision,
Yeah.
is to take a step back, right? So being mindful would be if me and you are in an argument, I have this tunnel vision on trying to prove my point, seeing what your point is, and I feel like I'm locked in on this. But if I can kind of like just really just like push myself back, see the bigger picture, take a breath, and be mindful, like just take in the whole situation
Okay.
and say, well, what is the end goal here? What is the purpose? Like you want that six pack, right? You want to feel good. So you got to kind of take a deep breath and go, am I satisfied? Am I satiated? Do I feel good? Do I need this food or not? That it's kind of just like taking a breath and seeing the bigger picture. Last night, if I'm on my third Greek yogurt bowl and I finish it, it's like go to the porch, take a deep breath. How do you feel? Satiated? Okay, stop. Drink a seltzer water. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like take a breath. When you know you're going into something bad and you're going into that binge eating thing again, it's just like after you've had your third cookie, whatever it is,
Yeah.
take a breath. Do I feel satiated? I know how it tastes now. Am I just eating to eat? Because I know how it tastes. I've gotten that initial dopamine hit. So it's kind of just like taking a deep breath is something we all have to do is just take a deep breath. That's being mindful. Take a step back.
And it almost sounds like self-talk.
Yeah. 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 It's a lot about self talk and also just like something I'm big on is living with purpose over pleasure. So like you wake up and you're like, all right, well, what's the plan today? Let's set my intention. Like I know I want to be in a calorie deficit. So it's like wake up and kind of move throughout the day with purpose and keep that big theme goal in your mind of like, in 3 weeks, I want to get that six pack back. So like today's just another step in the right direction. Let's enjoy the journey. Let's enjoy the feeling of being a little bit hungry because I know I'm getting closer to my goals, even though it's a little uncomfortable.
Dude, that's a good point. And on the topic of breath work, I watched a podcast and I saw this guy talk about, and it's very curious, but I don't always do it because part of the time I'm like, ah, man, I just want to get the dopamine and I don't want to stop that, which is not a good thing. But here's a trick. I think you should try this out next time you want to kill like 4 Greek yogurt bowls. This guy talked about like when you can relate it to a binge eating or like an urge to do some sort of addiction that you know you shouldn't be doing. What you need to do is you need to take your finger, breathe through one nostril, hold it, switch to the next, breathe out. Breathe in this nostril. And he says, since it's only coming in one nostril, you have to take like all your brain power and focus into that right there. And it kind of takes you off track of whatever you're really urging to do. And it genuinely does work. So next time you do it, try something like that. And I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah, no, that's big. Yeah, getting in tune with your body and really just focusing on yourself. You know,
Yeah.
it allows you to feel like, well, I'm kind of full right now because you get more in tune with your body. You know what I mean? Instead of
Right.
going to that dopamine hit again. I love that.
All right. So while we're on the topic of food, where do you fall on this scale? Because you have a lot of influencers. The first one I think of is, do you know Joey Sorts?
Yeah, of course.
I love that guy. And he put me on the ground beef wave. But so when I think of this, I think of Joey Sorts and like a Paul Saladino. Extremely, extremely restrictive. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. They're not eating anything processed. They are right here. And then on the other end of the scale, we'll have me in high school who's ripping Dairy Queen for every single meal, ripping Oreo, like just eats shit food. Where do you fall on this scale?
Honestly, I love the game, bro. I love the grind. I like being disciplined, like Paul Saladino would be, or like Joey Sorts would be. But then I feel like a lot of people, it's just not realistic because they love their foods. They want to get that dopamine hit. So kind of my mantra is eat good, make it healthy. So it's like you feel like having a dessert, make a healthy dessert. Let's get creative with whole foods. Let's make whatever it is, like that banana bark last night, banana, peanut butter, chocolate, some salt on top. Tastes great. I think you can do just about anything with whole foods and make it taste good. So
Yeah.
I'll never really kind of get down to that thing where it's like, I want to go up to the gas station, grab something packaged. I know I can make it better at home. You know what I mean?
So you don't eat processed food at all?
No processed food. I
Really?
I got that stigma around it now where it's like, why would I do it when I know I can make something better at home?
When was the last time you had something processed?
It was Siesta Key. I went up and I got a scoop of gelato, and that was like June 15th. Before that, it was like 8 months.
That was the last time you had something processed.
Yeah, like processed, like if we're talking like people will be like Greek yogurt, like sourdough bread, like that's processed. I don't consider that processed.
No.
That's not processed junk. It's minimally processed food. But processed like junk with like empty calories, probably about that. And
So
they have one spot in Coral Gables, Miami, Florida. It was like low calories, 60 calorie per scoop ice cream. I went there like 3 times at the end of the year.
oh, that's a cheat code.
Yeah.
Okay, so explain to me what's improved in your life? Like, don't even think about it off the top of your head. Since
Mental off top of my head, list them out.
Yeah.
Mental clarity, like the brain fog, just went away. As I started using food as a tool to feel energized, brain fog went away, mental clarity through the roof, energy, and also confidence. I just feel a lot more confident knowing that I'm doing the absolute best I can for my body, right? I'm only putting top tier ingredients in it. So like I'm fueling for performance all the time. So I feel really good all the time.
So do you think the confidence comes more because you got a very good physique, not to be weird, but you got a good physique. Does the confidence come from physique? Does it come more from discipline, or does it come more that's like, I am performing in the best possible way because I'm feeding myself the highest quality nutrients?
Yeah, a big turning point in confidence was senior year. Before, it was March break and I kind of had some free time. Before that, I was just kind of unfocused on myself. I wasn't doing the best for myself, and I got into running March break, and it was hard. It was really hard going out there every day, running 5 miles, and maybe I still ate more food than I should have, but I was pushing myself every day to run, and I was really overtraining. But the fact that I was investing in myself that much and doing something that hard every day because I knew it was good for me, that was a confidence builder right there. I didn't look the way I wanted to yet, but knowing that I was on a journey, I was like, I'm done not feeling good about myself. I'm going to do everything I can to start feeling good about myself and get on that journey to improvement. As soon as I hopped on that path, that journey to improvement, I was confident because I knew I was doing the best for myself. I wasn't digging a hole anymore. I was climbing out of it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So it kind of relates to something that happened to me earlier in this year. So at the end of end of 2024, I was getting a little chubby again, like not really being dialed in the physique. In the gym, I wasn't pushing myself that hard. I just work out to be in a deficit, but I ended up never being in a deficit. And so I told myself at the end of 2024, you need to start doing hard things again. You need to embrace one word, and that's pain. I don't want you to go and work out just for a workout. I want you seriously to go to the gym to put as much pain in your body because that's going to help every single aspect of your life. And it did, believe me. Like I was in the best Anthony Gross that there has ever been. But what I found out that after a while, it's like a month and a half, 2 months, you get the physique, you feel good, and you slowly start to like burn out and you slowly
Yeah.
start to fade out a little bit and the drive isn't there. Does that happen to you?
Yeah. And I think a big part about that is we know like we should have three kind of wins for the day, that mental, spiritual, and physical win. And if
Yeah.
you're neglecting your spiritual and you're going all in on your physical, you're going to get burnt out. You need to have a balance of all these three. I don't believe that, I need to go out on the weekends and give into these kind of like shallow pleasures, vices that I used to into because, they were bringing me pain. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, you can find balance in a healthy lifestyle if you go out in the morning, you do some meditation, and then you do a gym workout that works for you in your schedule, 45 minutes. And then you track your calories, but you still eat some of the foods that you love. It's all about finding balance. It's not about when we try to be perfect, we burn out. So it's just finding something sustainable that works for you and trusting the process over time. It's got to be sustainable or it's not going to work. Do you see yourself doing this for the next 5, 10 years? Yes, great. No, we got to figure it out.
So you went through a pretty big transformation, right? I've seen your stuff before, and you mentioned like, yo, and I don't know if this was in I think it was in high school. Like I was drinking, I was smoking, and then boom, something happened. What was life before we get into what happened? What was life before that?
Yeah, so I was never really, and it's still kind of weird to talk about because it's like that was high school and that was only like when we're talking like March break senior year, that's only like a year and a half, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
so it's still kind of like it wasn't very long ago, so it's still kind of weird to talk about and how different I feel it's weird now, like how far I've come. But yeah, throughout high school I was super insecure. Um and not confident. I didn't like the way I looked, I talked, and that I felt on a daily basis. So I kept giving into pleasures. Like at the end of a school day, I go home, smoke to feel better, kind of forget like the troubles of the day. And throughout the day, it would just be a grind of like, all right, talk to this person, talk to that person. A lot of anxiety here because I don't feel good about myself. If people are looking at me, I'm like, I'm going to blush. I'm going to get red faced because I just don't feel confident in who I am. And that sucks to not feel confident in your own skin. It hurts. And then it's like you go home and you just take a tap of the pen, like whatever it is. I was using cannabis. So, and then you forget all that. Play a video game, talk to your friends, whatever it is. But then the thing is, tomorrow you're gonna have to go through the same routine of going to school and not liking the way you feel and not liking your image. You know what I mean? And so I just kept digging a deeper and deeper hole, going out drinking on the weekends, just trying to forget everything. All these things that were bringing me pleasure were really just bringing me more pain. It was just becoming a cycle of just digging a deeper and a deeper hole.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, bro. So like one way to summarize that would be it almost served as like an escape.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've dealt with that stuff before, bro. And you actually painted it very good. It's like in the moment, it kind of lets you escape, but you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, and it brings you more pain.
Yep.
And then I feel like we all get to one point where it's so rock bottom that you say, I have to make a switch. What was that moment for you?
Bro, it's just I think senior year we had to do a lot of public speaking, which was good. When you do something that is hard and you know you're not doing the best you can on a daily basis to make it easier for yourself, right? You're just getting through it. You're going back. I was at boarding school back to your dorm room and trying to escape from all of it.
Yeah.
And then you just put yourself through more trouble the day after, like we were talking about, just digging that deeper hole. And it gets to a point where it's like, is this just gonna be the rest of my life? Where I'm just gonna feel like crap and have to escape all the time, and it just adds up. It just accumulates and accumulates, and it piles on top, and eventually you just gotta be like, I can't do it anymore. I gotta go for a run, lace up the shoes, go for a run. I gotta eat a healthy meal. It's not worth it.
Okay, so it wasn't like one specific moment where you hit rock bottom.
No, I don't think. I think in college, like there was that point. Of just more of like, well, where's my life going? Because I was fit, I had that six pack, but I had no purpose. You know what I mean? And it was like, yes, I was working hard. Yes, I built some confidence in myself. I could go out, talk to girls. But I still love drinking and smoking it as my escape. And it's like, well, life can't always be like I feel like I'm living for the weekend. You know what I mean? Like I want to enjoy Monday through Sunday every day. So that was kind of the point. Honestly, I'll get into that. That was 3 weeks into college. You have syllabus week, you have orientation week, and it's like
Welcome.
everybody's hyped up. I was like, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, it was fun. Um, but it was like the fourth night of drinking, and I was like, bro, like I want to do this again. I don't want to do this again. And then to have to rely on that because you don't like what you're doing on a daily basis, you have to rely on that on the weekends to go out and get absolutely bamboozled. I don't want to rely on that. You know what I mean? I want to live a lifestyle that fulfills me so that I don't need these shallow pleasures and these vices to go to. So I gave my life to God, and that's another form of accountability. A
Mm.
lot of people like look at the Bible as a book of rules, but I really believe it's a guide to a fulfilling life. If you follow this disciplined lifestyle, it's very fulfilling. It gives you meaning on a daily, weekly, month to month basis because you're progressing. You're becoming a better person with every day that goes.
I got you. Can we talk about that? The moment that in like what does it mean to give your life to God?
Yeah, so I was just kind of lying in bed, honestly. And I had the fitness account that I was doing, but I had like 120 followers. Like if anybody knew, like found out about it, I was like, oh yeah, well, it's like embarrassing at that point. Um, and I was just kind of lying in bed, and I'm like, so I've got like a toe dipped in something I'm passionate about, but at the end of the day, like my focus is still on all the wrong things. And it kind of hit me like that conviction of like, wow, like I'm not living up to my potential at all. I could do way better than this. Um, and it's just kind of like that emotional point where it hits you, like you start kind of tearing up, but you also know that you can do better.
Hmm.
So it's not like it's over. You know what I mean? It's like you just have to like appreciate this moment of conviction and say, I know I can do better. Like this conviction, it hurts, but it's promising because I know I have more potential than this. I know there's more to life than this. So I kind of got hit with that. And then I went all in on the fitness account. And I gave my heart and my soul to it, super vulnerable.
So would you say fitness like saved your life?
Yeah, I'd say like God saved my life, and fitness was the pursuit of purpose and of building myself. Yeah. I'd say that's kind of the route that God showed me.
When you say like the Bible is a way to living a fulfilling life, um, I don't know what denomination you are. I'm Catholic, so I go to mass every Sunday. That is a non-negotiable. Prayer. I mean, like recently, honestly, I haven't been the best at doing that every single day. But I'm not reading the Bible. But I still would say I'm like grounded in faith. So like how do you use the Bible? This could be advice for your younger self or someone that's struggling right now with lack of purpose or fulfillment or wants to get closer to God, but they just don't know how to. So how do you use that as a tool for purpose?
I think having a source of accountability, because the Bible doesn't necessarily say like, well, it does, like this is right and wrong, but it doesn't just give you an empty like, hey, this is right and wrong, and that's the end of it. If you actually put it into play, these are the things I should be doing, and these are the things I shouldn't be doing according
Yeah.
to the Bible, your life will 100% drastically improve. Drastically improve. So it's kind of just putting these teachings in play of right and wrong and seeing how it feels for yourself. If you don't believe in God, try out following some of these commandments, some of the things that are said in the Bible that require discipline, and
Yeah.
see how your life changes. Like God will reveal himself to you if you commit to him and to his word and to his teachings, and you make a genuine attempt at it.
When you say that, is there a specific commandment or verse or something that you read that facilitates that for yourself?
Honestly, it's just like so a lot of young kids I'd say struggle with lust, like pornography, like this and that. And to develop the discipline where you can say, I'm not going to do that, right? I'm lying in bed and the urge hits, but I know it's not good. And if I did it, I'd feel like crap. And if I don't do it, I'd feel better.
Yeah.
And to know that and to put it into play and to see it really impact your life, like that's the only feeling of assurance I need. You know what I mean?
When you gave up a lot of this stuff, like the going out, the partying, the drinking, living for these shorter pleasures, did that affect friendships at all for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's and I get a lot of DMs about this, about people not really feeling like they fit in with their old friend group and they don't have a new friend group. So you're kind of in that lonely phase of self-improvement where it's like you don't fit in with your old friends, but you haven't quite made that new friend group and those new connections. And you just really have to, I think that's where God comes into play. Because yeah, I was lonely, bro. Like going out, or when my roommates, friends were going out on Friday night and I go, I'm not gonna go out. What are you gonna do? Nothing. Work, edit.
Yeah.
Um, so you're alone for that period of time, right? And you to have that connection with that higher spiritual being, that source of love and comfort was everything to me. But yeah, you're going to be lonely when you don't fit in with your old friends and you don't quite have those new friends yet. And that's just something that you have to embrace as part of the process, that lonely period of self improvement.
Yeah, that's deep. So I went through a similar when I mentioned at the end of my New Year's are always very impactful for me. And so my last New Year's was like this was off my first semester in college where I like really got after it. And it was senior year fall, really getting after it. And like you mentioned living for the weekends, I was living for the weekends. And then I actually made a video about it one time, but it's like I could not wait for Thursday, Friday, Saturday to get here because I knew I was going to go out and I was going to party and have a good time. And it happened where it just like event after event and like legitimately sometimes just you just black out and you wake up the next day and you don't remember a single thing. And you're just like, what a loser, bro. Like you're such a loser for doing that. And it got to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm not doing it anymore. Did it again, did it again. And then I finally cut it off and I'm like, bro, I am done doing this. Like I'm done wasting days. I'm going to lock in. And you go in that period where it is a little bit lonely and it's isolated, but it's kind of a good feeling. But at the other side of that, you have friends that hit you up and it's like, yo, come on, like there's no way you're not doing this. Like you're gonna regret it, bro. Like you're only in college once. You can do this for the next time. So I have to assume you went through a lot of that. So for the younger person out there, besides just like embracing the loneliness, like what is your advice to them who's ever going through that phase right now?
Well, I say you know where you came from, right? You know you were in a bad spot, and that's why you tried to get out of it in the first place. So God, like whatever that was, it was revealed to you that that's not the path for you. So the big thing is, and the Bible talks about it as well, is to stop looking at your past where you were kind of falling into the pleasure, that comfortable past of just falling into these shallow pleasures to make yourself feel better. You have to stop looking at that old life and say, that's not who I am anymore. And look at this light, look at this purpose, the light at the end of the tunnel, and say, this is where I want to go, and focus on that. Focus on that. And never look back, because if you look back, you're going to fall back into it. You're going to say, like, maybe like one night. No, focus on this purpose, this light at the end of the tunnel. It's got to be like this kind of source of tunnel vision. You can't look back. You always have to move forward, one foot in front of the other. Don't backpedal to a place where was wrong. Don't go to your past. Stay focused on that future and that vision that you have for your life.
Dude, something I struggle with that is I'm at the point now where I'm in New York. I'm not going out. Like I rarely, I don't think I've really been drunk in probably the first week I got here. I was drunk, but I have not been drunk since. So like I'm really not drinking a lot, but I am still going out. And it's always like this dilemma. It's like, dude, I can stay in and I can work, but at the same time, it's like life gets more meaning and more purpose when you connect with more people and like building relationships. And that's actually very advantageous because everything in this world is a game of who you know. And like I struggle going back and forth. I'm like, dude, what is the right way to do it? I have no idea, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But did you ever do you still struggle with that?
Yeah, I think what I tell a lot of these people who ask me, like, well, I'm in this lonely phase, what do I do? It's like, go to the gym on Friday night, like, see who's there, talk to some of the guys. Go to church on Sunday, stay after mass, see who's there, talk to some of the guys. Build this circle of people who are in the right places. Don't go to these places that you were, because it's going to be those same people who are going to drag you back into your past. Go to these places that align with your vision and your purpose and with meaning in your life. Places that are good for you, church, the gym. Go make friends there. And then, world's your oyster after that. You can go out and make fun plans, whatever it is, with the right group of guys that aren't going to say, yo, let's go grab a few drinks before this. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you're big in going to right types of places to find people.
Yeah, you gotta set yourself up with the right environment. If you're in the wrong environment, it's super hard to stay dialed in on yourself.
Who do you look up to from just like today? Like who are your role models? It could be people on social media or just in your life.
Well, I'd say first of all, I mean, I love giving him credit because he was one of the guys that really gave me a spark. Was Paul Ziegler? I'm sure you know him.
We've tried to get Paul on this podcast before. We're gonna make it happen. Yeah, I know Paul.
Yeah, Paul's a great guy, and to see somebody else's life go from 0 to 100, and to see how much you relate to them at their past point where he was drinking and smoking and falling into these worldly temptations.
Yeah.
And then to see how happy and like the energy about him when he now lives this life of discipline, he's sober, just to see that transformation, right, is enough. And then I also have a friend whose dad is now a recovered alcoholic, and just to hear like all the deep stuff that he went through, and to say, like, when you're going down this wrong path, like, you only dig a deeper and deeper hole. Like the only way to get out of that is to start looking at this life that you want to live, this light at the end of the tunnel.
You know what I have a lot of respect for Paul for? It's his ability to, and you know what? It actually is kind of what we talked about the other day. It's like taking a stance on something. And we'll get into some of your Miami videos after and how you took an extreme stance, and they were lit and you got some shit for it. But that dude just takes stances. Like, and he's very vulnerable too. But something that comes to mind is what happened the other day with Charlie Kirk. And it's like, there's not a lot of people that went out there and voiced their opinion on it, especially not young people. Because like in today's day and age, everybody worries about, I'm going to get canceled. Or if you're a content creator, you're like, I'm going to lose half my audience if I go and say something. And Paul just speaks his mind, which you got to respect. And it's not an easy thing to do at all.
Exactly. And I think that's like, it kind of brings me back to that point of like, you got to be the hero of your own story. Every superhero we know has a stance. They take a stance and they live for something. So it's like, don't be afraid to take that stance, because when you have a stance, you have purpose and you have meaning. And you get a lot of respect for that. And you're also going to get a lot of the negatives, a lot of the people who want to bring you down for it, but you're going to get a lot of respect and a lot of fulfillment from taking a stance. So you get to focus on the positives and kind of brush off the negatives. I think a lot of people give too much attention to the negatives and too much energy to the negatives. Focus on the positives, all the people that are supporting you and all the
Yeah.
good change you're making.
Well, negativity sells, bro. That's how
Yep.
media that's how media makes a living. And this is just an example from the Charlie Kirk thing. Like, obviously, I'll just give my opinion on it. I think it's absolutely horrible, and anybody that thinks it's a good thing, I mean, it's not a good thing, and you're messed up. But second of all, I think there's a small majority of people that are much louder than a large majority. Whether you're left or right, I think 99% of us don't agree on what happened. Like, that's screwed up. But you hear a small minority of people voice their opinion and say it's good, and that's blown out of proportion. But the other thing with that is the media just tries to sell that stuff. Like, they're like, oh, yo, look at this person saying it's a good thing, because they just want to enrage people. And even people on the right, like, I saw creators go out and they'd post videos walking around college campuses and like interviewing people. And they would only post the ones where you have an individual saying, oh, he got what he deserves. It's like, dude, you're doing as much of a wrong thing as the person that's saying it, because you're just trying to use it for your advantage, divide more people, and like get clout from it, which is frustrating. But on the topic of taking a stance, walk me through the stance that you took at Miami, and kind of like what started happening when you ripped those videos.
Yeah. So, I mean, I took a stance because if you're gonna make a change, like you got to create some waves, right? It's got to be controversy and do it out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah.
But then also like call out, like a lot of the Bible talks about conviction. When I'm saying like, well, you're hungover, like I'm getting after it. When I give these two opposites, like that's really taking a stance and it's showing the transformation. I'm not talking to somebody who is my neighbor in a college dorm room. I'm talking to my old self. Well, my old self was hungover on Sundays. This
Mm.
is now the life that I'm living. And I showed that. I wasn't saying I'm perfect. Like I'm just like this perfect guy who always had it all together. Like, no, I'm showing the videos where I was drinking, I was smoking, I was in a bad place. So I'm talking to myself and I'm saying, well, you're doing this complete polar opposite, this negative. I'm doing this positive. I want to show this transformation. So it's like really just taking that stance. And when you feel convicted, there's one of two kind of responses that most people will pick, and one of them is just to go for the negative, just go for the guy's jugular and be like, you piece of crap, like bro, go out, like live your life, like this and that. And then there's the other people who are like, damn, like maybe this guy has a point. So I was trying to reach those guys who are like, damn, like maybe this guy has a point, and just accept that there's gonna be people who don't want to change and they're not ready for it.
What was the response at U Miami?
Yeah, so the response was, I mean, there were a lot of good kids. Like I had somebody come up to me, he's like, bro, like F the haters, bro. Like keep doing your thing. He was quiet about it. I was like, my guy, like I love it. And then there's also, people who like look at me, like give me the looks, the giggles. It's like people who are freshmen in frats, like carrying around something dumb because they're like a pledge, that are like looking at me like with their boys like this and that. And a lot of people like are just silent about it. There was one person that ever really said anything. He's like, yo, I love drinking and smoking, bro. Like, what do you think about that? He was driving by in his car. He had the phone up. He was videotaping me. So I'm like, all right, I'm ready for this. And I was like, well, bro, like, are you happy with your life? Like, I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, like you're doing it. Like, are you happy with your life? And I got like a short little murmur and I'm like, pull over, we can talk about it, like knowing that he's not going to. But it's like, I'm really genuinely curious because I was in that same point too. Are you happy with yourself? Because it's one thing to take a stance on social media, but it's another thing to really live it out in real life. So don't just take these stances to go viral, but take the stance. And then if you get the opportunity to change a life in real time, right? In real life, like that's the biggest blessing, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of change you can do online, but if you could really change a life in real time and say, well, why do you hate me? Why are you going to call me these negative things? Like, I'm really curious, where is that hate in your heart coming from? Do you feel like convicted by what I like? Why is this making you feel negative? If you think it's great, right? Drinking and smoking, if you think it's great, then why do you hate me? Why not just do your thing? You know what I mean?
And
Because I'm not gonna give a negative response to you when you say I love drinking and smoking. Like, you're wrong for that.
yeah,
So, like, why would somebody give me a negative response when I'm saying, like, I don't like drinking and smoking?
did did anything come from that?
No, no, I never saw anything about it.
He didn't change his life?
Nah, nah, I didn't never got the chance to really talk to him.
So Jack Nassif, you know Jack Nassif. I just had him on the podcast too, and I mean, we all get a lot of hate, and so I just brought up the question, like, yo, what would you say to one of your haters? And he mentioned, like, dude, I get death threats. He's like, people comment on my stuff, yo, keep posting your timestamps, I'm gonna jump you.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, you know what I would do if I ever sat down with one of my haters? He's like, I would just listen, and I would just ask them why they feel that way, because he's like, most people that do that stuff come from a place of hurt. And so you just try to understand him, which I have a lot of respect for. And it was like the same thing. I don't know if you know Zan Carver. Do you know Zan?
No, I don't think so.
Wall Street bodybuilder guy. I've done a couple videos. He's a guy that dresses up in suits and he'll walk on Wall Street and like bump the EDM music. Do you know who that is?
I might know him. I've seen a bike video about somebody on Wall Street.
You
Like,
you've probably seen him. But
okay.
he was telling one story where he got into an Uber after work, and he's big on, like, he'll talk to anyone, and he's talking to the Uber driver, and the Uber driver's like, I've seen your stuff before. And he's like, oh really? He's like, yeah. And the Uber driver goes, you know, like, there's been sometimes, I'll just admit it, where I'm in a bad mood and I'll come home and I'll just comment something hateful and to try to like pick myself up. And the thing that Zan did is Zan called the guy out. He's like, dude, I will never understand why some people do that or why you would do something like that. But that actually goes back to the point where I think small little comments like that, or when the guy's driving by you and he's like, oh, yo, trying to get a reaction, the way you respond to it or say a little thing, I actually think that has a lot bigger impact than you think. And I guarantee that interaction with that guy did change something in his life. And that little
Yeah.
thought in the back of your head, like how you responded, I think it did something to him. So I wouldn't be surprised. You have more power in your words than we have more power in our words than I think we think. Every single person.
Yeah, and I think with all kind of like the negative stuff we have going on and like the Charlie Kirk, like, how do you respond to somebody who's so demonic in the comments? Like, I think we just kind of all have to come from a place of love, you know what I mean? And just real respect for if you're being demonic, like, I love you as another human, you know what I mean? And just come from a place of love. Like, don't combat the negativity with negativity. Combat the negativity with love for one another, and really just try to come to this understanding, because that's going to make the world a better place. Not trying to prove nobody's right. You're not going to prove a point, right? But if you just come from a place of love and you say, like, okay, like, that's your opinion, you know, it is what it is, and I'd still love you as another human being, right? If we could all just kind of get to that place of a mutual respect and a love for each other, that would make the world a lot better place. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong at the end of the day. But if we
Yeah.
could all love one another.
No, it's well said.
Yeah.
Why'd you drop out of Miami, bro? It's a great school.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, a lot of like what I was saying, and I want to be careful with my words here, because I think Miami's a great school, and I think it's a great campus, and there's a lot of great stuff that goes on there, and a lot of people love their life there. But for me, I couldn't really get into the culture, the environment. And like I said, like, you can only get as far as your environment will let you. Like, you can do really hard. You can do really good. You can work really hard to become the best person that you can be in a certain environment. But when you can elevate your environment, then you have a new level to rise to. So for me, I think being off campus and just being at a place where, like, really, if you watch my Saturday and my Tuesday routine, it's the exact same thing. And
Yeah.
I love it. And I want to travel, and I want to go to all these different environments where I can just live my lifestyle, not really be around, you know, these distractions, and just rise to this new environment that I'm setting for myself. So I really just want to set the scene with my environment. What's gonna be the most resourceful to me? And I think that's traveling, going to places where I can make content, meet new like-minded people. It just opens the door to a lot more freedom.
Okay, so freedom is an underlying principle there.
Yeah, I'd say freedom to be able to grow and evolve beyond my environment.
I'm just curious, and at this point in my life, because you're what? Are you 20?
19.
So you're 19, respect. Okay, so you're 19 and you would be a sophomore right now.
Yeah.
I think the question that everybody's thinking, and you can be as transparent as you want here, but it's like, how does a 19-year-old then, if he's not going into college and he's not going to get a degree, how is he financing the travel and stuff like that? Where does that come from? Because, and I'll tell you, I was very reliant. I was completely reliant on my parents throughout high school, or I mean throughout college. Like they covered all of my stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same case for you, but like that's what's coming in the question popping up for a lot of people right now.
Yeah, so the first thing is I do want to say I'm still in college, but I'm online now.
Yeah.
Right? So I have that freedom of environment. So I'm studying biobehavioral health to improve my knowledge and my background in health and optimizing the human body. That's kind of my passion, like feeling good mentally and physically. And then as far as the travel goes, I'm able to help people with my passion and the background that I have and the background that I'm growing in health and optimizing the human body. So through working with clients, posting my stuff on Upspace, great app. Paul's the co-founder of that, really great app. Um, I'm able to earn revenue off my passion, which is enough to be able to finance kind of a means of life for right now. And I it kind of puts my back up against the wall where I do have to grow and evolve, right? Because you got to make more and more money to support your lifestyle and eventually a future family. But I think number one, putting your back up against the wall is huge. To like take the little income you have and take it and run with it and try
Yeah.
to make more of it based off your passion. And my work is my play and I love it. So I'm able to really just focus on it. Like I said, Saturday, Tuesday, same routine. I'm just focused on it all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so just to kind of have that back up against the wall mentality of like this is just gonna work. This is the path that I chose.
Are
It's
are
really
you
powerful.
living are you living at your parents' house or did you get your own spot?
No, so I'm actually super fortunate as well to have two roommates who are doing the same thing who are making money online.
Oh,
One's the same age as me and one's his older brother. So they're both making money online and they're both helping manage me. So if I didn't have two people to move around with, that would be a hairy situation. But I'm blessed to have people to kind of share my surroundings with. So we're all living in the same um, condo apartment down in Clear in Florida.
wait, what do you mean manage you?
So they're managing me. So they run this marketing agency. That's how they make money online.
Yeah.
So they're helping. One of them's really good with aesthetics, and then one of them's really good with kind of the back end managing finances and systems and stuff like that. So together, they're kind of helping me improve my front end and my back end, and I can just do what I love, which is make content and help people one on one.
Okay, okay. And when you say front end, back end, like what comes to mind is like I have a manager, and so he'll do all my brand deals. But you're running a business, so like these guys helping the business or brand deals.
So these guys, yeah, brand deals, like they'll be in touch with people, brands that are reaching out. They'll work finances because I don't know what a good deal is.
Yeah.
Um, but people who have seen this before know what a good deal is. So that's where their knowledge kind of comes into play. They can get me a better deal, take a percentage of it. I still end up making more money than I would have because maybe I take a bad deal. And then also just managing the aesthetics of my account and kind of like the vision of where we're gonna go. Like I'm dropping a cookbook soon. I would never be able to do that on my own. I have to have somebody who's good with the aesthetics make that.
Okay, so back to your passion right now. So you have a passion for fitness. You help coach people. You're dropping a cookbook. And we briefly touched on this earlier, but let's talk about brain fog because when and I'll share the story. When I was in college, God, and in high school, like I said, I ate horrible, bro. And so every time I eat a meal, I would like fall asleep after. Legitimately, I could not focus. It got so bad to the point where my freshman year, this is specifically my freshman year finals time, I would study in the morning. I'd wake up and I would refuse to eat anything. And I would push my food window off to the absolute max because I knew as soon as I ate a meal, boom, I'm cooked, bro. Like I am not gonna be able to study the rest of the day. It was that bad. we had an assignment in our business class where we had to make a business. And I'm like, I got the perfect idea. This is gonna be revolutionary. And it's this app that tells you when to eat in your food windows to avoid brain fog. And everybody else was like, well, yeah, that's just a shit idea. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, how do you guys not struggle with this? Like, this cooks me so much. So, like, on the topic of brain fog, specifically, like, just walk me through your day and like what you eat to avoid that stuff, and if you were to eat this, like, what's gonna cook you?
Yeah, so I think a big thing for me is carb structure. So what I do is I only eat fruits in the morning, kind of those quick carbs, and then I'll do complex carbs in the afternoon and more starchy carbs at night. And without getting into like all the background, that's a way to optimize your energy levels so you don't get that spike in blood sugar and that following crash, that obviously what you're referencing, that brain fog.
Yeah.
Our brain runs on glucose, so we need carbs. So people who are saying like I eat a low carb diet, like that's going to cause brain fog, but it's just about eating the right carbs at the right time. If you eat bread in the morning, you might get a crash. But if you eat blueberries with some eggs for, cholesterol, some fats, you're gonna feel a lot better. Your hunger will be stabilized and your energy levels will be stabilized. So I think it's all about, like I say, using food as a tool and not as a dopamine hit. So skipping the cereal that I know you might enjoy and going for, eggs, blueberries, whatever it is, just using food to your advantage. So
What's
I
a
think it's
what's a
about eating.
complex carb? What is a complex carb?
Yeah, so a complex carb could be oats. It's kind of like those whole grains. So it's bread, oats, rice, um, and then starchy carbs would be more like potatoes, and then those quick carbs will be fruits.
Okay,
So
so don't eat potatoes and bread in the morning, otherwise it's gonna cause a crash.
yeah, to an extent, everybody's body works differently. So you got to kind of play with your carbs. I think it's like you got to kind of try things out, kind of A/B test it, eat something in the morning, see how you feel, but then always fall back on the food as a resource. So
Yeah.
so eat with the idea that you want to feel good. Because if you're eating with the idea of I want to just feel good because it tastes good, like you're not going to end up feeling good throughout the day. So I think it's usually very much being resourceful with it.
Can you have My friend brought this up the other day. Can If you eat a lot of fruit, can that be too much sugar? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, I think it's like people definitely say that like there's a lot of sugar in fruit, but it's not the same processed sugar. Like your body can't really digest processed sugar, cane sugar, whatever it is, the same way it can the fructose from the sugars in the fruit. It's just
Uh,
a different digestion process. So so I don't necessarily agree with that you can really have too much fruit. Obviously, it's like it could get to an extent where it's like, okay, well, you're eating fistfuls of fruit all day. It's like, okay, but no, I think if you're just eating a normal amount of fruit, you're gonna be fine.
okay, okay. Good
Yeah,
dude. Like, I've been crushing fruit lately. Like,
yeah,
just
yeah.
ripping fruit. And it's actually do you eat frozen fruit at all?
Oh my gosh, I love frozen fruit. Yeah.
Frozen fruit will get you right. Like, I would just now I just get bananas and I don't even have them sit in the cabinet. Like, I'll just put a Ziploc bag, throw it in there, and it's like a dessert. But anyway, frozen fruit's great. Okay, so we're wrapping up. I do have a couple more questions though, dude. Where does how you doing? Where does that come from?
I don't even know, bro. Honestly, I don't know. I just started ripping it and I love it. Um, yeah, anything I find, I kind of take it and run with it. I rip the like, let's have a day. How you
Yeah.
doing? Like stuff like that. Just like good vibes, positive energy. It's something like I'll just say it and it's like right there. It's like it just fires me up. So I just kind of found the phrase. And I'm like, I love this, bro.
Bro,
So I just ripping
what's the accent? Like, what accent is that?
bro. Honestly, it's just like an emote. Like at this point, I don't even know. It's like I I think it's got an Italian background. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
A little
Keep
pinch.
keep doing that, dude. I like, not to be weird, but like I kind of enjoy listening to like
The
there's
vibes.
stuff about it. Yeah, it's got good.
Yeah.
It has very good vibes. Okay, so we talked about the Miami thing. What's You mentioned this story to me the other day. I think it's hilarious. What happened on Yik Yak?
Oh my gosh. Well, Yik Yak, for like anybody who doesn't know, is the worst thing in the world because it's an anonymous app. So I
Totally.
can go on this as Joe Smith but nobody knows I'm Joe Smith. So I can technically say what I want about anybody, and nobody knows it's coming from me. So I can just gossip all day long, say whatever I want, and it's going to be fine because it's never backtracked to me. So like I said, I didn't get a lot of hate in person, but I got a lot of hate on the daily on Yik Yak, and my roommates would occasionally like flip their phone and be like, yo, look what they're saying about you. And I'm like, bro, I don't want anything to do with it. If it's online, I don't want to hear about it. But yes, I was trending. There was, I don't know if people are familiar with like the college life. There was a girl that had some stuff going about her. And she was like the number one trending on Twitter and Yik Yak. And then I was right there at number two. Just kind of getting crap for no reason. But like I said, pay attention to those positives, not the negatives. But yeah, I was getting daily hate on Yik Yak.
Yik Yak's criminal. And what would happen at my school? We had side chat. We didn't have Yik Yak, but especially when the fraternities were doing like rushing and trying to get pledges, people in each fraternity would go on there and just like straight up lie about different frats and certain people in frats. And they would say like, oh, yo, this guy's allegation, this guy's weird with girl, like serious things, bro. Like who would ever joke around about stuff like this? But that's what they would do on like side chat and similar to Yik Yak. And I refuse to download that app. I'm like, that's just,
bro. Yeah, a lot of the stuff
risky.
on there like could be criminally charged. What people were saying about each other.
Seriously, bro. And there were like administrators in college, or like our college, our school was so corrupt with Greek life. They hated us and they wanted us out. But like the head Greek life guys would be on there and they'd be analyzing the stuff and they see what it is. There's a whole clusterfuck. But anyway, last question I got for you. Something that we've been doing on this podcast is if you comment a question on our YouTube and it gets the most liked, that will be the question that we will ask the next guest. So Luke, I've got a final question for you.
Oh,
What have you desired for a long time that didn't quite meet your expectations once you finally did it or achieved it?
love it. Absolutely love it. So part of like my self-improvement was I used to write down affirmations in a notebook, and every day I wrote it down. I had like 1,000 followers beginning of the year at Miami. I wrote down, I want to have 100,000 followers on Instagram. I want to be traveling the world and making genuine change, earning money from it. And then sooner or later I hit the 100,000 mark. And as soon as I hit it, I'm like, oh, I hope I don't plateau. Like I gotta creep up to the next step, the next milestone, and the next milestone. And that's a big point. It's like when you hit these milestones, you really have to be appreciative for it, or else it's like, what is the journey even worth to you? You know what I mean? If you hit 100,000 and you just breeze over it. So the first day I did just kind of breeze over it. And then I was at like 101 the next day and I sat down, I'm like, wow. And I kind of like, I look back on what I was saying, like in the notebook, like I used to dream about this. And I was in Puerto Rico at the time watching the sun go down. I'm like, I'm traveling the world, bro. Like this is sick to see it all come into fruition. And you really do have to be grounded in those wins, because every milestone comes with its own challenges. You think you're going to walk different when you have 100,000. You think everything's just going to fall into place, but no, you're still the same person, just a little bit further on your journey. I was still the same person when I was writing it down in my notebook. Right. And so you got to kind of take every milestone and appreciate it, and also realize that every milestone is going to come with new challenges. So just appreciate it and then be ready for those new challenges that come next.
Dude, that's so well said.
Yeah.
Like, so well said. And it's just, I think something I struggle with is like, I'm starting to come to the realization with a lot of things, like, I don't think enough's ever going to be enough, which is kind of a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's like the moment, well, a year ago, whenever I started content, all I dreamt about is getting 10,000 followers. And the day I got 10,000 followers was probably the most down bad day I've been my whole content journey. It was like that. And it's like, oh, now you want to hit 100,000, but it's like, what happens when you hit 100,000? You want to create a business and like, you want to get X amount of clients, and you get X amount of clients. It's never going to be enough unless you can figure out some way. And I don't know how to do that, but it's a deep and scary thing to think about.
Yeah. You're just going to find that balance of future and present, and really just just stay grounded in the present and enjoy what you're doing. Yes, you're working hard at goals, but enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well said, bro. Luke, thank you for coming on Gross Potential. You're crushing it, bro. Can't believe you're only 19. Keep fucking doing God's work, bro. Much love.
Let's get
Take
it.
care.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me on, Anthony. Appreciate you, brother.
I am a huge dreamer, and because of that, the Gross Potential team set 2 very big goals to hit by December 31st, 2025. Number 1 is to hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and number 2 is to drop the number of people who watch our show but don't subscribe to us down from 92% to 80%. So the only favor I will ever ask is that if you get value from the show, or get entertainment, or a new fire lit up inside of you, please, please, please hit that subscribe button because it supports us in the best way possible. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode.